It's a very funny story, but it's also kind of one of the most life-changing experiences I've ever had in my life. So there was one time, me and my church friends were mostly Asian American. We were out eating, and then one of our friends brought their cousin, and she's like a white girl. So I went up to shake her hand. I shook her hand, and she gave me that limp handshake, like this kind of like very non-committal, like, oh, here, like I was in my mid-20s at this point. So I wasn't like, I still kind of was not fully developed in some ways. I just lost it. And I was just like, can you believe this white girl giving me like that limp handshake? Like I'm like nobody to her. Like how dare she do something like, it was kind of like this like moment of psychosis where I kind of had internalized this idea of like, oh, all white people, are condescending and they look down on people like me. And like my friends at the table were all looking at me like, have you lost your mind? She comes back to the table, and my friend, she's just like, she looks at the girl and she's like, hey, can you just tell us like, why did you move to the Bay Area? Like, why are you here? And she was like, oh yeah, well, so I used to be a nurse, and I really loved my job, but then I developed hand cancer because my hand got ruined by the cancer. She was like, I lost my job, and so I had to quit nursing. But she's like, I moved recently to the Bay Area because I'm volunteering with like this organization, this like medical organization, yada yada yada. I was sitting there, and like my friends all were just like side eyeing me and like just like trying to not laugh because I just seconds ago just like ripped this girl apart about how she was just like this condescending white girl, who like, just saw Asians as beneath her. And then she's sharing about how she had hand cancer, literally had hand cancer. And that's why she couldn't grip my hand. One of the most humiliating and embarrassing experiences of my life, but also one of the funniest and in a way, one of the most beautiful experiences of my life, because I experienced in real time instant feedback about how my racism and even my judgment and stereotypes of people had basically made me assume all of these things about somebody that weren't even true. I just had assigned this kind of evil to somebody and they weren't evil. They were actually an incredibly good person who had actually been through an incredible amount of pain and suffering in their life. I will never, ever judge somebody based on their appearance ever again. It's been so valuable for me in my life because it's opened me up to like all these different friendships. I lived with a friend of mine who was a cop for a couple months during 2020, which was a very strange experience. I've had all of these like different friendships, like with people who are really conservative and people who are really progressive. And it's made my life so rich because like I have all of these people who see the world and interact with the world so differently. And I learned so much from all of them.